Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trending Topics. Sweater weather, since we're in October, is what we're talking about this month. My name is Joni Rampola, one of the registered licensed dietitians with Giant and Martin's. And today in Trending Topics, we are going to talk all about butternut squash and make a butternut squash soup. And the start of this soup smells pretty darn good. I will say that. All right, so want to just start off shopping for butternut squash. How do I pick one out, right? You want to look for squash that feels heavy for its size, and you can see the picture there, like that's kind of the shape of it and what it looks like. You want to avoid squash if you see it have visible cuts or bruises or spots that you can squish your finger into because it's a hard squash. You can, if it's whole and uncut, it can be stored at room temperature for up to a month before using it. So it can just sit on your kitchen counter if you need to wait. So they keep. I love that about it. You can purchase them whole, pre-cut, or even frozen. You could buy the cubes frozen. Any of those forms can work for this soup. To peel and trim a butternut squash. And I will say the first time I tried it, I found it very difficult to get a knife through a butternut squash. But you lay it on its side, like in this picture, on a cutting board, using a sharp knife or a serrated knife. Cut a thin slice off of each end. So, the stem and the tail you want to cut off. And then you notice like there's what they call the neck, the slimmer part, and then it goes down into the bowl, as I call it, of the squash. So you want to separate those. So the wider bulb end you cut off. So that's just one slice in it. Then you use your vegetable peeler, remove the peel from the entire squash, so both pieces, the neck and the bulb. Then cut the bulb in half. And when you cut it in half, you actually see all the seeds. With a spoon, you can scoop out those seeds, and then sometimes there's that stringy flesh of inside a squash, and you want to get rid of that as well. And then you cut it into wedges or cubes as needed. And I just want to say my hack for cutting a squash, because it's challenging to get a knife through. It's not the easiest cut. It's very hard, the squash. So I stick mine in the microwave, so not to cook it, but just to get it soft enough to put a knife through it. I do that with sweet potatoes too. If I want to cut them like in fries, I stick them in the microwave for a little bit. It softens it enough just so you could cut through it easily. You don't want to burn your hands, so cool it a little bit to cut it. All right, how to serve it. So the seeds, I actually did that for this recipe. You can save them, roast them, and eat them the same as you would pumpkin seeds. So I actually took mine, put them in between paper towels, and just rubbed them. And then most of the butternut squash sticks to the sides of the paper towels. I gave them a little rinse, let them dry, then I stuck them on a rack in the oven to roast them. And I will say, I learned this the hard way. They're really good if you put a piece of parchment paper or something on top of them, because just like popcorn, they were first like pop, pop, and I had seeds all over my oven. But then second time I did it, I put that parchment paper there and it was perfect. Butternut squash pairs well with a diverse range of flavors, so we're doing something very savory today. It has jalapeno and onion and cumin and gives that like deep savory flavor. I typically like butternut squash on the sweeter side, cinnamon or maple syrup or balsamic vinegar or smoked paprika we are using today. I've also made a butternut squash soup in the past that would have apples in it and apple cider instead of broth. So you can do it in a sweeter version as well. Any recipe that calls for canned pumpkin, you can substitute with butternut squash. The flavor is different, but it's relatively similar and they're both orange, so they both give you that great color too. You can serve it mashed as a substitute for potatoes. You can sprinkle it with something sweet like brown sugar and cinnamon, maybe a little vanilla extract drizzle, bake them and top them with toasted pecans. That's one of my favorites. That's why it's there because I do that sometimes. But overall, you can roast them, you can stuff them, you can steam them, you can stir fry them, you can spiralize butternut squash into noodles and use them as noodles or add them to soups and salad. So very versatile. Nutritional benefits. So they're rich in nutrition. It's packed with vitamins A, C, and potassium, or the top three, although there's many nutritional benefits, fiber being one of them. They're also high in fiber, so it aids digestion, supports regularity, supports heart health, and can help manage cholesterol levels and blood sugar levels, and that's any kind of fiber from your fruits and vegetables. Low in calories, so it's a great option for those wanting weight loss while still being packed with nutrition. And that vitamin A and C that it provides supports eye health and immune function. All right, so this is the recipe that we're making. It's a savory recipe, roasted butternut squash. And just saying, today was supposed to be Shayna, but we switched days. So if you saw on the calendar, it was Shayna. She picked this recipe, but I'm glad that I got to make it for her because it's actually good. It earns one guiding star, but if you see in the bottom, it's ready in 40 minutes. So I sped up the process a little bit because we don't have 40 minutes. So for those that may not be familiar with guiding stars, if it earns 1 star, it's good nutritional value. 2 stars, better nutritional value. 3 stars, best nutritional value. And the ingredients. So we're using 1 butternut squash, 1 medium yellow onion, 3 cloves of garlic, 1 jalapeno, 3 tablespoons of olive oil, ground cumin, smoked paprika, a quart of vegetable broth, a quarter cup of pepitas, which are pumpkin seeds that don't have the white shell casing on them, and then multigrain rolls. So here are the steps. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees, trim and peel the butternut squash as I described earlier. Then you're going to half the squash, cut off that bulb, remove the seeds, and cut the squash into 1-inch chunks. I did that already. Peel and cut the onion into 8 wedges, peel the garlic, stem the jalapeno, pull out the seeds of that jalapeno, the ribs and the seeds, and then cut it into 3 pieces. Then on a large baking sheet, toss the butternut squash, onion, garlic, and jalapeno with oil, the cumin, and the paprika. If you wish, season with salt and pepper. Then you're going to roast them for 20 to 25 minutes. So that part I already did, and I'll show you my sheet pan. I just pulled it out of the oven just as we started because I didn't have enough time to do all that and finish this class. Then this is where we're going to work together. In a large pot, combine the roasted vegetables with the broth, heat to a boil on high. Then we're going to reduce heat and simmer it 5 more minutes. Then with an immersion blender, and I'll show you mine, puree the soup until smooth. Divide among 4 bowls and garnish with the pepitas or pumpkin seeds, and then serve with rolls. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and we are going to start cooking. All right, so let me show you first I roasted the vegetables. So this is my sheet pan with everything roasted on it. These are my onions and garlic and jalapeno and just my little chunks of butternut squash. And here in this pot, I already started heating. I have just vegetable broth, and I'm going to add that in. Then I'll back up and talk about what I did. Just get my little scooper here, and I'm going to just put this into the broth. And it takes about 5 minutes to cook, and then we will use the immersion blender and blend it. And one jumped away. And I'm just putting, it's already roasted, my onions and my butternut squash, and it's going into broth. That's all that's in my pot right now, some broth. So I lined my baking sheet pan with parchment paper and roasted them. All right, let me just cover that. Get this going. So this is a butternut squash. It's about the size that they are. Wanted to show that to you. And you can cut it this way, cut the bulb off. And I found something. I knew we had pre-cut butternut squash in the store, which is amazing. But I found this. I never knew, whoops, it's upside down. I never knew we had this. So you could buy a whole half of a butternut squash and it's already peeled for you, so you don't have to peel it. You could just cut it. The seeds are already gone. So if this is more your vibe, you could buy it already pre-cut. You could buy it just halved and peeled, or you can buy the whole one. So I bought the whole one because I like the seeds. I'm a seed girl. So these are pumpkin seeds. It says to top them with the pepitas. So these are, we're calling them, it says roasted salted pumpkin seeds. And I used, so broth comes in low sodium or regular. I used the low sodium, but I bought the salted pumpkin seeds on top because I think when that touches your tongue, it would be nice just to get a little salt flavor in there. But you pick what you want to do. And then in this recipe, it says to add a little bit of sodium. Let me turn my little flame up here. Add a little bit of salt and pepper, but I figured if I use regular broth, I won't have to do that. If I use a low sodium broth, we'll see if we need it. But yeah, so this is what pumpkin seeds look like, or they're actually called pepitas, but on the label it says pumpkin seeds. And then this is my roasted butternut squash seeds. So all I did to roast them is, again, I took a paper towel and I just kind of smushed them in between the paper towel. They're crunchy and delicious. And then I did do a little sprinkle of salt on them and cook them off. And that's what I'm going to top my soup with. And just because in a previous class I had this question, I bought a bulb of garlic. And when it says a clove, it just means one little piece, not this whole, not three of these. A clove is what's inside, one little piece. And then ground cumin and smoked paprika is what I used on it. And for oil, it said canola, but I happen to like avocado oil for roasting, so I use some of our avocado oil, which is extra virgin and cold pressed. All right. And then once this is done, it says 4 rolls to have multigrain rolls. But I bought our Nature's Promise multigrain bread, the artisan bread at the bakery, because I think this is so good. And this is what I'm going to use instead of a roll. So I might just cut out. And if you don't know what a jalapeno looks like, this is a jalapeno. This is a large one. Sometimes they come a little bit smaller. So I cut it in half this way, and then you want to take out the top and the ribs and the seeds. The seeds are really, really what gives it the most spice. So you want to make sure that you get those seeds out of there. And then I'm going to look in my pot, see what this is doing, see if it came to a boil yet. It's just what it looks like in my pot. And not quite a boil yet. We're going to give it another minute. I think in the meantime, I'm going to cut a roll and see what kind of questions we have. Or wait, no. 1 second. I think I have a poll question for you. So, butternut squash, let's talk about eating it. When you hear butternut squash, what meal do you think of first? Is it the soup? Is it the side dish? Is it a salad topper or is it a veggie bowl? I want to hear what you think of butternut squash. I think I eat it all those ways. Least as a salad, but definitely soup, side dish are most common, but also a veggie bowl. And it seems like you pretty much agree with me, even though I see some are still coming in. I'm going to end it, but thank you for doing that. And yes, most people say soup as number one, 58% of you, side dish, 40%, and only 1% say veggie bowl. Salad topper, 1%. Love that. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to now cut my bread and get my bread ready. Let's just see if we have any questions thus far. Joni, what brand of immersion blender is that? Oh my goodness, it has an M on it. I don't even know. I don't see a name. I've had it for a while. It just has an M as in Mary. I honestly don't know. I wish I did. How do you pick a butternut squash for ripeness? You just want to make sure that it is firm, um, and doesn't have a lot of bruising on it, right? Like there's no soft spot on this. No matter when I turn it around, it's all firm. Butternut squash is hard. So it's hard to find a bad one. I feel like 99% of them are actually good. Do you toast your seeds at 325? That would work, absolutely. Yep. I actually had my oven at 400 because I was warming it to get ready to roast the vegetables, and that was too high because they popped all over the oven. So 325 would probably be better. But you have to watch them or put something over them. Would you cook it before using on top of a salad? Absolutely. You don't want to eat a raw butternut squash. You can't even bite into it. It's too hard. So it has to be cooked. Yes. Roasting it is a delicious way. I also love butternut squash ravioli. Ooh, I love that. I have no idea how to make ravioli, but yes, I've seen that in store. Love it, love it, love it. What's the difference between smoked paprika and regular paprika? Really just the flavor. Smoked gives it smoky flavor. That's the best way to describe it. It's just they're a little bit different. One's a deeper flavor. Did you roast the seeds without oil? I actually did a really quick light spray of oil, but you don't need to. But yes, I did put a little bit of oil on them. All right, I think we should be boiling by now. I am. And I am going to use my immersion blender. So if you have a regular blender, you put your liquid in the blender and blend it. An immersion blender just has the blade on the bottom that does it for you. So you stick this in and it brings it, because I don't want to be transferring hot liquids and risk spilling it, or if the quantity is bigger than my blender, which this probably is too. So an immersion blender is the way to go. So you put it directly in the pot and it blends. So all it is doing is like mixing up those whole butternut squash and onion and jalapeno. They're roasted, so they're soft, but they're still whole. And I could tell it's going to take a while. It's getting it, but it's going to take a while. Let's see. Let me look at some questions while I do this. Roasted butternut squash cut in two with brown sugar this morning, and it was excellent. Awesome. I'm going to stop and just show you what it's looking like now. It's not done, nowhere near done. Um, but you still see chunks, but some of it's getting thicker. So the butternut squash gives it that thickness without the creaminess. So it makes it like almost like a creamy soup, but there's no dairy in it. And then we are just going to blend away and I'm going to answer some questions. Does the color mean anything as to freshness, more orange? I don't believe so. I feel like they all pretty much look the same color. Same as like a pumpkin. They're all kind of the same color. I don't know what to say about that. I'll say no. We'll just stir this a little bit. We're getting there. It's gonna take a little longer than I thought to get all this blended. And let's see. I grow them and some get darker orange rather than the lighter color, and they are both great. Just don't want to see any green. Absolutely. Thank you, Dottie. Good answer. I've never seen one in store that's green. Color difference could be different variety. That could be too. Yeah, they're all around the same color. Same with the pumpkin. You see, different squash, different pumpkin get a little bit different color. Okay, let me show you what this looks like now because it's still not done, but it's getting awful thick. You can still see chunks in there, but it's really thick. So I will say 5 more minutes or so, I should be done. But I think I have one last poll. I'm going to go back and launch that. And then this poll is, after today, do you feel more inspired to cook with butternut squash? Your choices are absolutely, willing to try it once, maybe twice, but still, or third choice, still a little bit intimidated. Want to see what you think of butternut squash? Because if I didn't know what to do with this and I just see it, it is a little intimidating. I need some instruction. So hopefully this gives you an idea. Oh, I'm going to end the poll. Most people said absolutely. 62% said absolutely. 26% willing to try. And 12% still intimidated. Yep, I get that. That happens. So I roasted my vegetables and then I let them cool. I feel like if they would have been in hot, this would have happened a lot quicker. But I'm going to call it done. So I only have about 5 more minutes of this class. I'm going to put it in a bowl just to show you what it looks like. And again, there's still a couple chunks in there. So this is my butternut squash soup. And I'm going to take some of the seeds, and these are butternut squash seeds. Sprinkle them on. And that's what that looks like. It is so hard to cut. Any tips to make it easier to cut? Yes, I put it in the microwave before I attempt to cut it for 1 to 2 minutes. So not to cook it, just to get it soft enough that a knife goes through it because it is really, really hard. Then I'm going to cut my beautiful Nature's Promise bread loaf. And this is how I'm going to serve it with a nice hunk of beautiful bread. Seeded, I love that. And so this is my meal. And I'm going to share my screen one more to show you what's coming up next week so that you can stay connected with us. So tomorrow, Feature Friday with Jenna. Then I have the whole week out here because I wanted to end with me. Monday, meal solutions. Tuesday, produce spotlight, apples. Wednesday, well-being connection, protein. Thursday, trending topics, chili with me. Come back again for more sweater weather as we talk about National Chili Month. Thank you, thank you. And yes, thank you and take care. And now I will get to more of your questions. Hope you enjoyed this. All right. Do you need to prick it before microwaving it? I do not. No, it's too hard. If the squash and garlic would be cooked separately from the chilies, would it have a pretty orange color? That could be. That might be true. I don't know. And I did, the jalapeno is green, a dark green color to it. That could be what makes it different. So yes, that is a possibility. Thank you all for joining us. How long do you microwave it? Just a minute or two, quickly. Thank you. Take care, everybody. Bye.